You guys ever heard of this little S&B curry brand right here? These things, I'm gonna eat this for dinner tonight. I've been eating it a lot this week. See that little, this is curry. That's a concentrated cube of curry right there. I was just turned on to these by some lady in a hut the other day. I don't know if you can get these in the States, but I'm loving these. I just plop one of those in some couscous with some lentils. Makes a great meal. So look for those in the States. That's a new one to me, and I am way into them. I'm eating them constantly. What's up, everybody? It's Garrett here, back with the Move.W.Murph channel. And I'm at Martin's hut. That beauty right there is the southernmost hut of the TA trail. It's not pretty, and it's one of those free huts, so they don't really take care of it anymore. But it's a roof, and it's all the way at the bottom of the South Island, which means I'm almost done with the South Island. You might be thinking, oh, he's probably done with the whole trail really soon. It's not really the case. Due to some COVID restrictions, we weren't able to finish a good chunk of the North Island, so from Auckland up into Northland. So we've got a bit to go take care of up there, but we're excited to be done with the South Island, although it was a banger of an island. It was so good day after day after day. There's a ton of climbing. There's a lot of mud. Oh my, the mud, it's really hard. I can't believe they even call this really a trail. Some parts of it are more of a pond or something along those lines. So very excited to be at Martin's hut. South Island has been epic across the board. If you only had to do one island in the TA, I would say you should just do the South Island. But there's a lot of cool stuff to check out in the North Island, and especially Northland. From what we hear, it's going to be awesome. So, yeah, excited to be here. This might be one of our last huts total. I don't think there's any more left on the North Island at all. So we're going to appreciate this night's sleep in such a sweet spot. But today, I wanted to talk about what I keep in this bag right here. And this is my mess kit, my cooking setup, all the things that I use to cook on the backcountry. As you might be aware, I'm not a cold soaker. It's not for me all the time. I've cold soaked in the past. I'm gonna cold soak in the future. I've nothing against it. There's no tribalism, whatever here. For this long trail, I like hot coffee. That's my biggest thing. It's part of my ritual every morning, waking up, making a hot cup of coffee. It's been pretty cold, especially here. So I think like when I do the AZT in the future, I'm definitely gonna cold soak on that. I wanna be as light and fast as possible on that trail. It's gonna be fairly warm. I personally, I don't wanna give up a cup of coffee for 5 months straight. So that led me down the path of trying to get the lightest possible pot setup I could get. And I'm a huge nerd when it comes to this type of stuff, and I scoured the internet. I was looking for a pot that could do a handful of things for me, and some of that criteria I was looking for was like a large volume. So you can get some smaller pots that are very light, like the cup style, whatever. But I wanted a large volume pot that I could use with a MSR International, which I'm not using on this trail, but I do use when I bike tour because it takes petrol. So it needed to be a wider pot, and it needed to have a large volume, and it needed to be fairly light. So I think I found a compromise of some things that really fit together and make like the best possible backcountry cooking setup for me personally. I can use it in a wide variety of situations. I can use it on a wide variety of stoves and other cooking scenarios, whether it be winter, if I'm backpacking, bike touring, whatever it might be. And I found some stuff that I'm stoked about. And especially the pot. It took me forever to narrow down what pot I was going to use on this trail, and I finally found what I would consider my perfect backcountry pot. So let's get into it. Let's get into the bag. Let's see what we got going on here. I have a cube of butter in my pot right now. That's where I've been storing. The cube of butter is a bit of an understatement. It was 400 grams. It's a large block of butter. I'm just consuming calories nonstop at this stage in the game. I also like to keep some chili flakes in there for flavor, and maybe some stock cubes. It's neither here nor there. The first thing we're getting into is this cup. This is the Sea to Summit X mug. It is their insulated mug. It's for hot beverages. It has like these little bevels on the side to keep your hand from burning while you're holding a hot steaming cup of coffee. This is probably one of the heavier things, and it's definitely what I'd consider to be a luxury item. It weighs 78 grams, total, which is fairly light. If you're looking at mugs, I looked at tons of different mugs, especially like the titanium smaller ones, but they don't collapse. So I wanted something that would fit inside my pot. So I snagged one of these. It's just a mug. It does the job. If you already have a mug, you should just stick with that. Maybe buy one of these if you're looking for something really compact. A lot of people have those titanium ones because you can still heat water in it. And it'd be really nice if I could heat up coffee in this while I was using my pot to eat out of, because I use my pot as my main eating container. Great mug, super big fan of it. Not that much heavier than a titanium mug, but it is a lot more compact and does the job. So check out one of these. I've also used some other of these silicone Sea to Summit pots and utensils. They're all great. This is a great invention. This was a great idea. So good job, Sea to Summit, on making something like that. The next thing I have is the Pocket Rocket Deluxe. This little guy is a great stove. You've definitely seen the Pocket Rocket around. I'm sure of it. The Pocket Rocket Deluxe weighs in at 98 grams. So it's not the lightest out there like the BRS, fairly cheap, super light. But I specifically bought this stove because this large burner right here. It's, like I said, fairly light, not the lightest, but it's a high functioning stove. It has an auto ignition. I've used this thing hundreds of times. Click that button, probably double that, twice a day for over 100 days, and it is working just fine. Even so, I could just use a lighter to light it up. But that burner is nice and wide. It's quite large. It does a great job at simmering. If you guys are looking for a backcountry stove that can simmer well, this is one-stop shop for you right here. Just the versatility of the food that I can cook expanded widely. I used to use a jet boil. As I've said, I have the MSR International. Those things are full throttle. Those just go. If you're looking to boil water, those are great options. But this thing, I like to make rice. I like to make lentils. I like to have a variety of food. This thing does a great job. And a fuel canister for me, the medium-sized one, will last roughly 16 days. So that's breakfast with coffee. So I just boil water in the morning, and then I simmer lentils for about 10 minutes at night, or do some whatever else. But I'm running an average of 16 days on a canister. So this is a great stove. Definitely look into that. The real only complaint I have is these legs. I've seen a handful of these. Friends of mine, everybody I know seems to have really floppy little legs. I don't know, you see, it's like real floppy. I don't know. If I just took an Allen key and tightened that up, it wouldn't be a problem anymore, but that's just been an issue for me and many other people. But they haven't fallen off, and I've had tons of use out of this, and it's a great stove, especially if you want to simmer, and fairly efficient. So I would definitely choose this over the Pocket Rocket regular, and definitely the BRS, because those things are just a little less good at simmering. Specifically, I need to simmer. This little bad boy right here is just a dish towel. It's what I use for the dirtbag dishwasher, because all I do is splash a little water in my pot and wipe it out. You're definitely going to want to clean that bad boy on a laundry day. And the main event, the thing I'm most proud of, all my searching across the internet, I found this little pot right here, and it comes with a lid. It's the ever new titanium Ultralight pot. This is about 1,000 milliliters. I bought this on Z-Pack website. It comes in at 119 grams. 119 grams is pretty good for the size of this pot. I have used numerous other things, some with like the little coils on the bottom to make them more efficient. I don't, whatever, whether it does or not. I wanted a wide pot. I wanted something hopefully with a little spout. So I have a little spout here and a nice wide pot specifically for the MSR International. If I do end up using that, it has a wide enough surface area at the bottom here where that larger burner won't wrap around the side and waste a ton of my fuel and a lot of my energy there, like those mug style. And it has that spout and some measurements on the inside. As simple as it can be, a pot turned into one of like the most important things to me. I spent hours scouring the internet and eventually landed on this pot. This was a perfect compromise of something wide with large volume that was fairly light as well. This is lighter than some of those cup mugs out there, like the Tokes and so on and so forth. And if you really wanted to make this a lighter pot, you could get rid of this lid and you can exchange it for a carbon fiber lid. People are making these custom carbon fiber lids that you just set on top. It overlaps a little bit and then you can just pick it up, and they're really light and it fits in the bag and all that. But for me, I really don't mind carrying around this titanium lid because it really isn't that heavy overall. And I used to use something along the lines of, let me grab it, here it is, one of these Tokes mugs. This is a 750 milliliter right here. And these are great. Like, this is like the industry standard of ultralight pots right here. This is just not enough volume for me generally. I always feel like I'm burning things to the bottom of it. It's so hard to get down to that heat with my spork and scrape, and always stirring from the bottom. So, oh my God, I hate it. I hate when I scorch my dinner. It makes me so mad. And I feel like I'm doing that all the time when I use a mug like this, because all that heat's centered at the bottom. Having a wider surface area to cook from, something really wide was what I really wanted. And it's not that big of a deal, but these handles get super hot too. I think most of you, if you're not completely new to backpacking, which you are, that's cool. But most of you have probably tried something like this. And for me, no bueno, no good, not what I want. So I ended up settling on this and I've loved it. Just been a blast. The lid is nice and sturdy. The pot's nice and sturdy. It hasn't gotten misshapen in my bag from cramming stuff all around it. And I can fit all of those things inside of the stove when I'm not carrying butter. Earlier in the trail, I fit all of it in here. I carry the fuel canister separately. So finding this pot has been the absolute perfect compromise. And I think that it's going to essentially cover all of my needs, whether I'm bike touring, whether I'm backcountry camping, just freedom. If I'm doing winter stuff, I can melt snow in this. If I'm through hiking, or if I'm doing some fast and light stuff, I'm probably just not going to bring a pot at all. So it's a little bit larger than I think some people, especially if you're a weekend warrior, were into. If you don't have that pure hiker hunger like I'm at after months on the trail, this is probably a bit large for you. And that's cool. You should probably get something. They have a smaller version of this, and they also have the cup style, or you can do whatever suits you best. But for me, this is perfect, and it has been the perfect compromise for all of my needs. This whole cooking setup is not too complex, where I have a lot of moving parts or any bowls or anything else. I eat out of this. I cook out of this. I drink my coffee out of my collapsible mug, and I love having a cup of tea at night as well. And also carry a spork with me. A spork's just a spork. I think that you should eat with whatever utensil you feel most comfortable with. I'm gonna switch it to a spoon because it's a whole nother discussion. So yeah, that's what I'm using on the trail right now to get me through almost every backcountry cooking scenario. I can cook rice, I can boil water, I can make coffee, I can do tea, I can do whatever I want. I've even used this pot to saute some vegetables, make eggs, so on and so forth. So it's definitely not like non-stick rated, but it does a great job, and I've had a wild success with it, and I'm really happy. All of that hard work and research paid off, and in comparison to this Tokes mug that I really wasn't a huge fan of, that's where I landed, and I'm very happy with it. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking it out.